probably know who he is because I've spilled the beans just a little bit. He'll be joining us in just a minute. Doug is taking the day off. He'll be here. I assume he'll be watching us, just standing by in case our special guest has technological issues, as he is wont to do. But anyway, welcome to all the platforms. Special guest, if you can go ahead and, when you get in here, request to join us, that'd be good. In the meantime, I can chat a little bit about what we're going to talk about, which will probably begin to reveal who we're talking about here. We're going to be talking about the in Atlantic City this weekend, upcoming weekend. There is a special event. It's a bodybuilding and fitness event, a strength event, and there's a vegan team that is competing, which is super cool because, traditionally, hey, there he is.
I clicked that thing like 5 or 10 times.
Yeah, that happens. I know there's the anxiety always that Instagram is going to fail and not let you in. But
yeah, anxiety is my middle name. So
yeah. Well, thank you for joining us, Robert Cheeke. For those who don't know, no, not Justin Fields, says Doug. Robert Cheeke, for those who don't know, was the co-author with me on The Plant-Based Athlete, our book last year, which became a New York Times bestseller. And Robert and I did probably 50 of these things back then, but it's been a little while. For me, it was several months before I did another, and it's been a little while for Robert too now. So excited to be back. And I just realized one thing. I forgot to hit record on one of our platforms, but that's okay. Okay, now we're recording there. So anyway, here we are live with Robert Cheeke. Robert, let's first of all, let's explain why you're here, what's going on. I gave it a little bit of explanation that it's the plant-built event in Atlantic City. But what I know about it is basically from the press releases that I received about it and a few of the articles I've checked out, which we'll talk about today. But let us know really quickly what you're doing, why you're traveling around the country, what's going on. And then I want to know what vegan fast food restaurants you've hit on the way and what fake meats you've eaten while you're on the road.
That sounds like a great topic. So Matt, I am here with Vegan Strong. So Vegan Strong team is the sponsor of Plant Built. Plant Built is a team of about 25 elite vegan athletes. People like Nick Squires, which we wrote about in our book, Noah Hannibal, who is a record holder in many different regions, Daniel Austin, Nadej Corcoran, really high-level elite plant-based athletes in the areas of bodybuilding, powerlifting, CrossFit, kettlebell sport. And we're all here in the beautiful, wonderful city of Atlantic City, New Jersey, and we're here for the Mr. America competition. And so the whole goal here is for Vegan Strong to show that plants have all the protein we need. Like that these elite vegan athletes can go head to head with some of the best in the country or even in the world in these sports of bodybuilding, powerlifting, CrossFit, and kettlebell. And so we've got a team, like I said, about 25 or so elite vegan athletes, and we're ready to tackle Mr. America this weekend.
I must have missed the invite to the kettlebell competition. I would have figured that I would have been pretty high on that list to come represent. But I guess maybe next year.
Yeah, we actually had someone, Sarah, a few years ago on Plant Built who set a world record for number of swings or presses or lifts at a competition in Austin, Texas. So we've got some really good talent here, and Giacomo Marchese and Danny Taylor from Vegan Proteins have spearheaded this. They founded it about 8 years ago. They co-founded this organization, Plant Built. Vegan Strong, the nonprofit organization that I work with, got behind it. And I sent you and about 100 other people press releases to spread the word. And I'm here in person, just rolled in last night and had some vegan pizza at Tony Baloney's, which is just the perfect name for a Jersey Shore restaurant. If you're going to get some vegan pizza, in Jersey, it might as well be from a place called Tony Baloney's.
I would say so. Was it a vegan place or just a pizza place that has vegan cheese on it?
No, not a vegan place, but they have vegan pizza, vegan sandwiches, vegan wraps, salads, garlic bread. And here's the key, Matt. Here's what you do. You know what we did? We got there late last night before they closed, and we were getting pizza by the slice. And they said, "Hey, do you want the rest of it? The rest of the vegan pizza, because they just have to throw it away." And then we're like, "Yeah, sure." And then they're like, "How about the garlic bread? You want that too?" We're like, "Sure, we'll take that too." So we walked back 1.5 miles along the boardwalk with boxes full of extra vegan pizza and garlic bread because we showed up late.
Hey, there you go. Now, see, now you're
Yes.
speaking the language. That's I think that's what the viewers are coming to expect is vegan junk food talk at the top of this show. I am just Athena says that's the best pizza. They have a vegan pizza that has 3 tacos on it. That sounds amazing, and also sounds pretty terrible, honestly. But but interesting. Yesterday, Robert, I think you said you were doing some serious show research, and you actually watched the episode yesterday. I
The
apologize
entire
for that.
thing.
Okay, so you may have heard
40 minutes.
you may have heard when I renounced vegan cheese. The
Ciao.
yes, and in general, just that type of vegan cheese that's made out of coconut oil. And
Yes.
I love vegan junk food. I'm just over those, so I'm out on the vegan cheeses. But pizza's the time when I think you still need to do it because it's that's how you get pizza, and that's how it seems like pizza instead of just bread with sauce on it. So that'll be my exception. But otherwise, I'm out on that.
Gotcha.
Okay. Any others? Any other? Are you hitting any like Panda Expresses or any?
Oh yeah, totally. I go. In fact, I know the manager Joanne at the I'm sure that's not surprising to you at all that I would know the
No,
manager. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not.
So the local Panda Express in my town, I know Joanne, who's the manager. Even sometimes, my most recent visit, there was somebody holding a sign outside. Kind of anything helps, money, food, whatever. And I went and got him some hot, beyond orange chicken and rice, and delivered a bag to him and a couple dollars in case he wanted to get something else. And for me, it's voting with my dollars to show the type of future that I want to support in the world of fast food. And Matt,
He accepted. He didn't say like not enough protein or something. And
no. He asked about the level of spice,
Okay.
but he was grateful. He was friendly. He was happy about it. I was happy to share it. And I bought some for my brother-in-law who's not plant-based. I'm really, I just did this. I don't know if you know this, but I just did this 7-state tour. It's, I feel alive when I'm out there on the road, seeing our book in bookstores. It's just, by the way, I told Danny, I couldn't have done this without you, Matt, making the New York Times bestseller list. Never know what's going to happen again. So I'm just trying to enjoy the moment. I just came from Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and Colorado, right before, a week ago. And I dropped into Panda Express. I dropped into Del Taco. I dropped into Taco Bell. I only went to one actual vegan restaurant, which was Modern Love in Omaha, which is Isa Chandra Moskowitz's restaurant.
Yep.
Other than that, I was going from I was in towns like Wichita and Amarillo and Kansas City, and I wanted to show up in Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and show up at places like Panda Express and show there's demand for orange chicken around the country, including in America's heartland.
Yeah, I mean it's so different. The only comparable experience I have is my book tour in 2013, where I drove around the country doing similar things, and it was just I went to Chipotle and Whole Foods then. That was where I could eat, unless the town had a vegan restaurant. But I tried to go to a Taco Bell once, and it was awful. I thought it was just I got refried beans, and I just did not like it at all. But it is crazy that those options now exist in all these small towns where you would not expect vegan fast food to be there. So as much as we joke about this vegan fast food and acknowledge that it is not healthy, it's really cool that it is available there, and I'm glad that people like you, Robert, are doing your part to support it. So everyone should do just a little bit of that. You don't need to get it all the time, but just go tell Panda Express to keep that orange chicken.
And I think that's the key, Matt, is that I thank them. I thank them for having plant-based options. I thank them for carrying.
Do you bring our book in there? Do you bring our Korean version of our book and sign it, or our Italian versions?
No. Although I should have at Tony Baloney's yesterday, but I left those copies at home.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I do take the English version around with me. And
you actually do? Okay, I was just kidding. I didn't put together that I was naming that. I know that Panda Express is not Korean food. I did not intend to make that or that the Italian. I totally mistake. I was just,
but the owner of Tony Baloney's has talked about going to Italy. In fact, Giacomo talked about that last night, going together, like them taking a trip to Italy together. So that's where it seemed fitting for me. But yeah, no, I actually do. I keep books in the car, and so I will prop them up at various restaurants and take pictures.
Good. Awesome. Very good.
Yeah, I think it's good to show the accessibility and practicality of a plant-based diet. It doesn't mean that it has to be healthy, but it means that it's available, and I think that's important.
Totally. All right, Robert. Let's get into the hard hitting news that people count on us to deliver for them. We already did what you eat for dinner last night, which is a common starter here. Yesterday, I talked to Doug a little bit about Aaron Judge breaking the home run record,
Yeah.
and it's hard not to draw the parallel between natural bodybuilding and I guess regular bodybuilding. I mean, do they test for drugs and steroids and things in like just pure bodybuilding competitions that aren't natural? Are there still drug things, or they just overlook all that?
Oh yeah, it completely overlooked. And even the bodybuilders themselves just refer to them as supplements. Some are very
Okay.
open. Some are very open, and we'll talk about steroid use. Since it's still, excuse me, since it's still illegal, some people have been busted with like steroids in their locker. Um, like if they're a firefighter or a police officer or whatever. But in bodybuilding itself, or if they get caught trafficking, bringing them in from Thailand, which is a common place to bring steroids in, they might get busted there. But I mean, you talk about Mr. Olympia and the best bodybuilders in the world. It's just everyone knows everyone's taking all those drugs, and that sport wouldn't be there. I thought about that too. Like you remember the excitement with not Barry Bonds, but Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa.
Yeah, that one summer
That was
99
so
or 2000. Yeah.
It was so crazy, the excitement. And it was like, at the end of the day, baseball's a business, I think. Major League Baseball is a business, just like bodybuilding, the big federation, IFBB, is a business. And it wouldn't really exist without that extreme aspect of it. Obviously, baseball would still exist, but what Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa did to revitalize and revive baseball in America was something special. I'm not a baseball fan, but I got into it. Mm-hmm. Like I was hooked on it, and I bet the ratings were through the roof during that time. I'm not saying that, that I condone it or accept it or whatever, but it's also, I'm not the person to judge that, pun intended, to judge Aaron.
Nice.
And we also know that in professional cycling and so many other sports, it is just commonplace that if you want to ride a bike at 60 miles per hour, and do so every day for many days in a row, some things are required to enhance the human body's experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the cool thing about Judge is that people are generally not accusing him or suspecting him of steroids. It seems that he's just been sort of above that his whole career. I guess maybe because the testing now is more rigorous than it was, and every now and then someone's still caught, but I think you have to assume that he's clean. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool that there's this. And it's cool that he's in a different league from those guys, that he's in the American League, so that we can say he's the American League home run king, and that record at least is sort of untainted. So anyway, it's a cool thing. Are there, at Mr. America then, so like in the strength competition, is there drug testing there?
Yeah, I believe, I'd have to check with Giacomo and Danny, but I believe there is drug testing here. The Olympia is different, the Arnold's different, anything goes, and you see some crazy physique, some crazy strength. Here, I believe, just like in the natural, so there's a natural Olympia too. There's there's actually called the Natural Olympia, and that one is drug tested. And these are polygraph tested, urine tested, and sometimes even blood tested with WADA, the anti-doping agency that tests for the Olympic Games. So it is pretty strict. Even in my amateur bodybuilding, I had to do a polygraph test, which is like, it's pretty nerve-wracking. They ask you all kinds of personal questions before the bodybuilding questions, just about, have you ever ran or lied to somebody, and they, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's really weird. So you're sweating there and everything, and then they do the urine test, where they basically stand right behind you at a urinal, like they're spotting you. Wow. And so that's kind of nerve wracking too, because there's someone just like hovering over you while you try to pee in a cup, and that's it. Like, pretty small amateur competitions that I did in like elementary school auditoriums, on small stages. The Mr. America is a pretty big thing. It's going to be covered with some sort of television. I don't remember exactly which, it's some sort of like subscription network or something, but it'll be covered.
Unchained TV? Unchained, who had the vegan peeled cooking show?
No, a little more mainstream than that. And there's going to be like Eric the trainer, who's a celebrity trainer, will be one of the MCs and hosts. And it's gonna be a lot of people, obviously, and some very elite athletes here, including our vegan strong team. But yeah, I'm sure there's some level of testing going on here.
Cool. All right, good. So moving on to NBA, a sport that I know you are a fan of from way back. As long as I've known you, you've been an NBA fan.
Yes, I
remember he came and stayed with me in Asheville, and you wanted to put on TV, and it was literally the first time basketball had ever appeared on the screen of my TV. So that was fun. The story here. So we covered Chris Paul a few weeks ago when he launched, the news broke that he was launching this vegan snack line of, I think it was like vegan Cheetos and vegan.
Doritos and
yeah. And it's super cool that he's doing that. I was a little bit concerned with some of the coverage. Was like, I don't know. It just seemed like they were sort of positioning him as an athlete, and that this was athlete food, and this was a good thing. And I just worry about people thinking, well, this is an athlete promoting stuff. But that happens all the time with all snacks, not just the vegan ones. So what are you going to do there? But anyway, he's got a new thing, and I guess he's just really getting out there in the investment world. He's got a new vegan bacon made from seaweed. This is from veganfoodandliving.com, not one of our usual sources. In fact, I'd never heard of it, but they got this story. So anyway, Berkeley-based startup Umaro Foods, and apparently it's already being served in LA's Crossroads restaurant. Have you been? You're a country world traveler. Have you been to Crossroads?
Yeah, I sure have. I've been there multiple times. In fact, I had dinner one time with Mike Mellon, who at the time was the drummer for the Goo Goo Dolls. At the time we had dinner,
Yeah,
and then he had children and they let him go. He had twins and he wanted I think it was twins and wanted to stay home.
They let him go. They kicked him out for that. Oh,
After 19 years of touring with the band, he had twins and wanted to stay home with his newborn children. And the band said, "We got to let you go after 19 years." And that was,
he was there for the heyday. He was there for Name and Iris and
yeah.
What else good could they possibly be doing now?
Right. But just still a little bit kind of a bummer. You decide to have a family and they say thanks for 20 years. Here's your pink slip. Yeah.
This is Johnny Resnick? Was that the guy, or was that the that might be the Nine Inch Nails guy? I don't know. That was Trent Reznor. Okay, yeah, Johnny Resnick.
Yeah. I just saw him actually in concert in July in Red Rocks.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Goo Goo Dolls were headlining in Blue October. My wife's favorite band was the opener. So
okay. Doug says he made the right choice. I don't know, Doug. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I think that the 20-year reunion tour, that'd be pretty fun to be on.
Yeah, 19, you're out.
All right. So anyway, so I have not been to Crossroads, but I guess it's.
But yes,
delicious.
I've been there numerous times. In fact, I signed a copy of our book for Chef Tal Ronan last time I was there, and he gave us a shout out.
Oh, Tal Ronan's the chef there. Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. He's the chef. That's his restaurant.
Okay, so that's good to hear that it's there, because honestly, my first thought, vegan bacon made from seaweed. That sounds a little like, I don't know if you watch Parks and Rec, but when Ron Swanson finds the vegan bacon in the grocery store and he just throws it directly in the trash, or maybe it was vegan jerky. That just comes to mind when I think vegan bacon made from seaweed. I'm not a seaweed fan, and it just seems like it would have that fishy flavor. But I'm sure, with all the tech around now, that doesn't have to happen. So anyway, no objection here to me. I know bacon's not health food, and I'm sure when they fry the seaweed version of it in grease, it's not either. But this is a little bit better than vegan cheese puffs or whatever they were.
Well, what I do like, Matt, is that Chris Paul is getting out there. Chris Paul, maybe more than any other mainstream athlete who's like really professional, really famous, State Farm commercials on TV every day. He's really getting out there. He's investing into stuff. He's creating his own brands. He's inviting people like John Lewis from Badass Vegan up on stage with him, along with major superstars like DeMar DeRozan, one of the MVP candidates in the NBA last year. Chris Paul himself, an MVP candidate the last couple of years. I love that he's doing that. Former president of the NBA Players Association for many, many years. Good friends with LeBron James. Chris Paul has tremendous influence, more than Novak Djokovic, more than almost any vegan athlete that I can think of, period. I met him briefly. I got that selfie with him, which was great. I accidentally clicked the wrong button to turn the phone off, because I was nervous. Then I had to retake it, but he was cool with that.
Okay.
You get the phone ready and you press the button and it just shuts off instead of takes a photo. I did that with Chris Paul, but he was cool. Very nice. We talked about Beyond Meat. I think he's doing outstanding stuff. So seaweed bacon may not sound super appetizing to me, but I know it would to Brendan Brazier. He's a big fan of Dulce.
That's right. He is. He was the original Dulce guy.
He is. He's the original Dulce guy. He's the original seaweed man. He's basically Brendan Brazier was the original Aquaman, you could say. Coming off of them are covered in seaweed, eat like a dog with a stick coming out of the water.
I just saw a story the other day, and then I texted Brent, or I Instagram messaged him to say congrats. They raised $7 million for pulp culture.
Which... I've been out of the loop. I saw him a few months ago at Expo West, but other than that, I've been a little bit out of the loop with Mr. Brazier.
Yeah, well, here, I mean, free ad for Brendan Brazier. Pulp culture is like it's a fermented. It's basically cider that they mix with adaptogens and things like that in kind of a tea, and it's got like the fewest amount of calories. There's no sugar because all the sugar ferments. And anyway, you can find it at a different specialty like vegan restaurants. I think it's in some grocery stores now, maybe Whole Foods. Yeah, certainly some Whole Foods.
Yes, I've seen it there.
But anyway, it's super good. It's like it's actually pretty delicious. Now, it has not replaced beer or wine in my drinking diet, but it's really good. So check it out. Pulp culture. Brendan Brazier.
Yep. He's an innovator. He's doing a lot of stuff. He's co-founding multiple brands. Every time I see him, he's busy. He did take the time to meet us for dinner in Venice Beach and walk along the
that's right
the Venice streets with us and chat for a while. So always grateful for to Brendan Brazier.
Yeah, I mean, and not to mention that he was like such a huge part of this movement. As when you were there in the early days, even before I was, it was you and Brendan doing so much of it, and he reached a lot of people.
Yep, he was one of the first vegan athletes I ever heard of. I had already been vegan for 7 years or 5 to 7 years before I discovered him, but then he was one of the first, and then we did that documentary together, which I think has officially like 3 point something stars, because somebody uploaded it to YouTube about 10 years ago. And,
I have that. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's pretty amateur. I actually used to put like T-shirts on my apartment wall with thumbtacks as marketing in the background, like literally a T-shirt, thumbtack to the wall as like a brand in the background for vegan bodybuilding. I'm way ahead of my time. I mean, I might bring it back with this whole vegan strong thing with Plant Build. I will just start taping T-shirts to walls around the Tropicana Atlantic City and just say, hey, it's grassroots. It's grassroots.
I like it. I mean, I did in the early days of No Meat Athlete. I was not above that sort of move. I did. But I remember I got a bumper sticker custom made. It just said nomeatathlete.com, and I had it on my car, and I would drive around and just assume people were seeing it and going to the website. But yeah, whatever. Anything to get some eyeballs.
Every co-op bulletin board was subject to have another push pin into it when I came to town.
I'm not at all surprised by that. Okay, moving on. Oh, so okay, tell us about basketball, because I know there are a ton of vegan basketball players. I'm not that big a sports fan anymore. I used to be. So I try now and then to check in when there's a vegan sports article. All we really have is Justin Fields, Chicago Bears quarterback. I don't know if you know about him.
Yes. In fact, I may have learned about it from your breaking news show.
Oh, so someone learned something from this show. I can say that has been done. Speaking of breaking news, I've got some sound effects that I haven't touched yet. I forgot all about them in the rush of me doing this show solo with no Doug today. But I'll get some sound effects going in a little bit. All right. So anyway, we need more athletes who we should check in on. And NBA season is about to start. When does it start? This month, maybe?
Oh yeah, right away. We're in preseason right now. Games are being televised. They're played in some special cities. They're being played in Japan right now. They're in Las Vegas. They're
out of the bubble. They're not in the bubble anymore.
No, not in the bubble, and they allow other fans to see games. You see games in Seattle or Las Vegas or Tokyo, where there's not NBA professional teams. Cool. And so it's even I was in Wichita. They're doing some preseason NHL over there in Wichita, Kansas. Doug says breaking news alert. Yeah. So here's some breaking news.
There it is.
I was flipping through the TV last night. I had to take a break from watching the show for 40 minutes, so I paused it and it turned on TV, and I saw the very end of Rocky, where they're doing the running scene in the ocean, where they and that music right there reminded me of the very end of Rocky. I don't know what Rocky number it was. It was just that scene at the very end where they're running beside each other. I also wanted to be able to throw that out there, that I had to take a break from the full 40-minute episode. I was just getting too tired. It was late at night, and I was lying down, so I watched on TV. But to get right to it, there are a bunch of other NBA basketball players And what I love about it is many playing for a long time. The longevity is insane. Like JaVale McGee. I mean, he's a 3-time NBA champion. He's an outspoken plant-based guy too.
What team? Give me teams with these guys. I don't know anything.
Yeah. So he is back on the Dallas Mavericks for the second time. He won championships with the Lakers, with the Golden State Warriors. He won Olympic gold medals. I mean, he's a very, very accomplished player. JaVale McGee. Met him also, took a selfie with him. 7-foot tall guy, incredible talent. DeAndre Jordan, another 7-foot tall guy. I saw him in person, didn't meet him, but I saw him at an event. He just got acquired by the Denver Nuggets. And so he played with Chris Paul. He also played with, I think he played with JaVale McGee. Oh, no. And he also played with Kyrie Irving and Garrett Temple. Garrett Temple has been playing for what feels like 20 years. DeAndre Jordan's in his 15th season. JaVale McGee, 14th or 15th. Chris Paul, 17th or 18th season. Garrett Temple seems like he's been playing for 40 years, but he's been probably in his 15th season. He is with New Orleans right now, New Orleans Pelicans. Cade Cunningham is a big-time star, rookie of the year last year. He plays with Detroit Pistons, so cheer for him. Jahlil Okafor has been fairly outspoken, plant-based guy. He was with Detroit Pistons last year. It's also interesting, Matt, that some of these guys play together, like multiple plant-based guys on a single team, which is, I don't know if one influences the other or it just happens to be that way, but I like.
Is there any like all vegan Fab Five starting five?
You know, we talked about it in our book that the Brooklyn Nets were the closest. 1/3 of their team was plant-based at one time. They had Wilson Chandler, who just retired after, again, another long career, 16 years or so. Garrett Temple, Kyrie Irving, and DeAndre Jordan. So, I mean, 4 guys, almost an entire starting lineup, if they were all starters, were plant-based. And, of course, Kyrie is a future Hall of Famer. DeAndre Jordan was a all-star multiple times and a first-team All-NBA one year. Big-time star. So some of these guys are really good, Matt, is what I'm saying. They're not just like bench-warming guys. You know, and Diana Taurasi, I think she just retired. I know Sue Bird just retired. Diana Taurasi, I think, may have just retired, but she's the WNBA GOAT, the greatest of all time.
Right.
She and Sue Bird, but she's been plant-based, has a plant-based family. You know, they adopted some kids, she and her wife. The entire plant-based family, outspoken about it. She plays for Phoenix. There's just something with basketball and I don't know, they all talk about reducing inflammation and feeling better and recovering faster and being faster and feeling younger and all that stuff, aches and pains going away. We wrote about it in detail in the Plant-Based Athlete, and I think that's what's driving a lot of these athletes. So anyway, another half dozen to cheer for, and I'm sure there's many more and will be many more this season as well going plant-based.
Yeah. Dale Stevens says, woohoo, Cade Cunningham. Did not realize that. I'm an OSU alum, so I already loved him. So there we go. Now someone else has learned something else from this show, which is great.
Yeah.
Are these guys and girls, are they all, veterans where they're doing this to prolong their career, or are some of them doing it from near the start?
No, Cade Cunningham was a rookie last year.
Okay.
He was a rookie of the year last year, I believe. So he's very good. Could even be an all-star this year or next year. He's brand new. He was plant-based back at Oklahoma State University, I believe. Wow. This guy talking about the Cowboys, the OSU Cowboys. I believe he was plant-based at OSU. So there's another guy. This is where Chris Paul could have innovated seaweed bacon a little bit sooner. There's a guy a very good player on the Denver Nuggets, Michael something. I'm forgetting his last name. Anyway, well-known player. He was vegetarian, I think, like his whole life. Made it to the NBA, and someone introduced him to bacon, and he derailed from there. So had the seaweed been around, we may have kept him on our team. I forget his last name.
Bacon did someone in, huh? Being introduced to bacon one time, and that was it. That was the beginning.
Yeah, he actually said it in an interview, and maybe I'm spacing his last name because I'm trying to remove that from my memory because he had so much potential to be one of those great plant-based athlete stars. He's like the 3rd or 4th best player in the team. But anyway, I'm glad to see so many plant-based professional basketball players, and thank you for asking about that.
For sure. Good. Now we got people to root for. I'll need to go back and make notes and things so I can start reporting on these guys and girls. But anyway, thank you. So, all right, we
Yeah.
got to move on, Robert. I want to get to, I want to talk a little more about plant built still, but let's hit
Yeah.
one more thing. Let's skip. I was going to talk about Huel and the meal replacement trend. Apparently, that's kind of happening, and there's been actually research on Huel. We'll save that for another day. Animal free whey, though, we've been talking about that in the past week or so. It's just starting to, last year it was in the ice creams, and now I think it is Nestle has a deal that they're going to be putting out a bunch of milks made from this stuff. So it's happening, and it's to me kind of the next step of all this, alternate, whatever we're calling them, substitutes.
Yeah.
And they're just becoming more and more indistinguishable. In this case, I mean, it is indistinguishable. It is the exact same molecule that they are creating, and they're doing it in a vegan fashion. It's for those who don't know, it's like a fermentation process, and they get the DNA sequence or something, which is public knowledge. They don't need any more animal milk to do it. And they just, somehow get the microbes to create this exact protein. So they're making whey protein that is vegan. It's weird though. Like, I feel like for all these years, everyone in the vegan world has been like, when people bring up whey and they're like, oh, that's the best thing for putting on muscle. It's just, you got to have your whey protein. And then all the vegans are saying, no, that's not good because it's acid forming and it's this and this and this. But now, as soon as it's available, I'm starting to see people go that way because they can get it vegan. So it's like, really, it wasn't that it was unhealthy for you. It was that you didn't want it. You didn't like that it was involved animals, which is fine.
Yeah.
Good, noble
Yeah.
cause. But it's a different argument from the one that says that's not healthy. So I don't know. What do you think? And like in the bodybuilding circles, are people embracing this? In the vegan bodybuilding circles, I should say, are they excited about this, or is this like, we're not touching that because we never have and we don't need it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you know what? I have to say, I don't know a whole lot about it myself, but I read the link you sent me yesterday in preparation for the show.
See that preparation?
Yeah, working hard to be ready for it. And I'm all for it. I mean, they even say right there on the website, absolutely no animals were harmed in the creation of these products. And that's what I'm all for. I think, Matt, what you're seeing is talking points that, we're trying to, as vegans or plant-based individuals, we try to have talking points that resonate with a particular audience. And so we'll say things like IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1, and the negative side effects of this. But as I talk to some vegan athletes behind, close behind the curtains here, they absolutely understand the muscle building capabilities of whey. It's just not an ethical thing they want to support, and neither do I, when it comes from animals. And so, but they understand that. A lot of the elite vegan athletes, especially, they say, yeah, I mean, this is a substance that grows a small calf to be a very large cow. If humans can digest it and tolerate it and are able to absorb it and utilize it, they're able to grow big too. I mean, we've seen that. We look at the NFL. Are you familiar with NFL football players? They're not small. They're big guys. A lot of whey protein, a lot of dairy, a lot of meat. Clearly it does work. They also have a career span that lasts for 3.3 years and a lifespan that is very short. And people like NFL and bodybuilders as well, who consume copious amounts of animals. So what I'm seeing is that people are relatively excited about it. Imagine if you can get something that enhances perhaps your ability in your sport at an elite level that doesn't require any animal abuse, then I think a lot of people would be fans of it. And it's consistent. It's consistent with moral and ethical perspectives of veganism. As long as there's no exploitation, there's no additional cruelty. We're not using animals themselves as commodities. We're just using a whatever it is, synthetic or lab-made substance that is identical, that produces these similar results. Then I have no ethical or moral problem with it whatsoever. Would I try it myself? Maybe. I haven't yet. I haven't even tried the ice cream. I haven't, I'm a little bit,
ice cream's good.
Yeah. I've heard,
really good.
I've heard, and including from you, and maybe I will someday. I'm not there yet, but I have no problem getting behind it, supporting it, promoting it, whether I do or not partake in it.
Yeah. I like that perspective a lot, Robert. I think it is very accurate from what I can tell, and I appreciate it, and I think it's very reasonable. Darn it, forgot what I was going to say about plant-based whey protein. I had something else, but I forgot.
I can ask actually this vegan strong plant build team. They're all arriving today. I got in early, late last night, but the rest of the team is arriving all day today, and festivities start tomorrow. And it'll be a relatively intimate group, 25 people plus. Athena, you mentioned. I am just Athena. She is actually the volunteer coordinator. She works with Vegan Protein. She'll be here.
Okay.
Corinne Sutton is not competing, but he's going to be a team captain. Natalie Matthews is not competing. She's an IFBB Pro bikini competitor. She'll be here supporting her husband, George Matthews, who's a CrossFit competitor in the top 96%, and he's competing. We've got some amazing athletes competing and who are team captains supporting. Ryan Stills, one of the best vegan powerlifters. Actually, let me correct myself. One of the best powerlifters in the entire world. He's team captain. He's going to be here. I've never met him before. He's out of Portland, Oregon. I'm sure they're going to have some opinions on this vegan way, more so than the average weekend warrior. We're talking like, Matt, these are like, I mean, Nick Swires, who already has a California state record and competed internationally and won titles there in Ireland, I believe. And I watching him for weeks leading up to this event. He's deadlifting fairly easily, 650 pounds. They are going to have some strong opinions. And I bet they're going to share, my guess is they're going to share the opinion that I just expressed, which is what I think Danny and Giacomo, two of my very good friends, share as well, that if it doesn't involve animal cruelty and it can help enhance athletic performance and doesn't have recognizable adverse effects that we know of, then why not? At least during our competitive career.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think, yeah, I'm not going to go. I was going to go into something longer about the health benefit, and very quickly, I guess. I'm always thinking but it's not. It's like we tend to think this is unhealthy, right? This hasn't changed the fact that dairy in general has a lot of problems with it, and whey is part of dairy. Right. Just speaking from a health perspective. So I get why an elite competitor would want to do this. It makes sense, right? There's maybe trade-offs that are acceptable that make you better in the short term, and you realize it's not the best thing for your long-term health, but something's important to you, so you do it. And I just want all the amateurs who aren't nearly that level, who just start doing this because now this becomes like the status quo, which you need to do if you're going to be vegan and be bodybuilding. So I don't know. I hate that part, and the reason I think I forgot that before when I was ready to mention it is because it's so boring, because we keep saying that over and over, that there's this health stuff, that all these high-tech foods, it's a problem kind of that we're starting to see so many of them, because the vegan diet, plant-based diet, loses this identity as this very, very healthy, has to be healthy alternative. So, that problem's not going away. I don't think there's too much to say about it. So let's get into, go ahead, Robert, and then we'll quickly
I just
get into
want to
Mr.
say,
America.
I think it's okay that it's a longer conversation. Maybe I'll have to come back again. I think it's okay that it can lose some of that identity, because ultimately veganism, isn't about health. It's an ethical perspective, an ethical stance against animal cruelty, and I think the accessibility aspect we talked about earlier, the Panda Express, the Del Taco, the Taco Bell, the McPlant, the Burger King, sandwich, all that stuff. I think that's important for accessibility, for veganism, for people to embrace that. And I think that I'm not worried necessarily. We still have the 80-year lifespan, for Americans, 3 billion heartbeats we're going to experience in our lifetime. And most people, 96% of the population, is consuming dairy and meat their entire lives and still reaching that point. I think for a few competitive years of eating a vegan whey protein, or many years of vegan meats and all this stuff, I don't think it's going to have the adverse health implications that so many in I hate to say it, but so many maybe in the Esselstyn or Campbell camp or Whole Food camp might suggest. I'm just not so sure that the evidence and data and science is there to support it. And I think we're totally ethically in line with following that path because of the stance on reduced animal cruelty.
Good. I like it. Like you, I'm very, very grateful for that circle of vegan doctors who
absolutely
made this what it was. I also think some of their ideas were a bit extreme, and now we're able to relax some of those assumptions about what health requires.
Yeah.
So anyway, Rob, I want to get to Mr. America because
let's do it.
We're already long here.
Yes, we are.
Let's keep this. I don't think we've ever had a 45-minute show. This may be the
welcome.
First,
enter Robert Cheeke. Yeah, you. Now it's 90 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. America. So I'm looking at the schedule. I see U.S. Strongman, CrossFit, as you mentioned. Is that what the vegan guy's competing in? Matthews?
Oh yeah. Yes, George Matthews. Yeah, we've also got Cody Kowalski, I think's his last name. I've met him a bunch of times. He actually won it a couple years ago. Plant Built competed in Austin. He won the overall title in CrossFit. He's very, very good. He's competing. The overall title for that particular competition,
right.
But still, very competitive. He won the whole thing. George Matthews is competing in CrossFit, yes, and plenty of female athletes as well. I'm less familiar with them, just because I haven't met many of them, and many of the male competitors I've known for years. But I do know that Danny and Giacomo have put together a stellar lineup of athletes, professional and amateur, vegan athletes in all of these different sports, and that it's going to be a very interesting weekend. And I think we are going to communicate this idea, hopefully that it's heard loud and clear that plants have all the protein you need, and that we can achieve the goals that we have in reaching elite status and success on a completely plant-based diet, and using the word vegan as well. We have Vegan Strong. We have a Vegan Strong booth. There'll be all kinds of athletes and celebrities and media covering this event, and they're going to see Vegan Strong throughout the venue, because we are I guess you wouldn't say we're a sponsor, but we're bringing 30 athletes under our umbrella. We have some sort of status beyond just a regular exhibitor. We have a presence throughout the venue, throughout the event. That's how we also got this upgraded room on the 68th floor of the hotel, because we're playing a key part here.
I like it. And I was telling you, Robert, before the show, I've spent many nights in that Tropicana hotel back in my poker days with my friends. That was one of our hot spots that we hit all the time. Anyway, I believe I had my bachelor party in the Tropicana hotel, by the way. Anyway, a little fun fact.
Well, yeah, I'll go down memory lane for you. I'll go to the roulette table and put it all on Papa's mustache.
Perfect. All right. So I'm seeing, are there any wrestlers? I see wrestling in this thing. Filipino stick fighting. We don't have any of those, do we, on the Plant Built team?
Not this year.
Okay. Powerlifting, more wrestling. No wrestlers though?
No wrestlers this time around.
Sumo wrestling.
There's always lots of other events. Yeah, Sumo Dan is a guy that I know. He's putting on the sumo aspect of this, and we're obviously. I think Giacomo and Danny are open to expanding to other sports. In fact, we lost 3 teammates because one of the sports was cut at the last minute, which was Olympic lifting, which is different from powerlifting.
Right.
So
right.
Unfortunately,
movement lift.
Yeah, and we actually had some really elite plant-based athletes like Ramona, who lives in New York City, or somewhere in New York, outside the city, and she had to, her sport got cut. And there were at least 3 athletes we had doing Olympic lifting that had to unfortunately not be able to participate because that event got cut only about a month ago, maybe due to space or lack of participation, who knows? But what I do know is that we are poised. We've got uniforms, Vegan Strong, with plants of all the protein you need is our slogan. We've got uniforms, apparel, clothing, walking around this large hotel, the convention center, the expo hall. And that in itself makes a statement for veganism when the thousands of people will see us all up and down the boardwalk throughout the hotel. What are you guys doing? What do you, obviously you're in incredible shape. What are you guys doing here? And then we say, we're here to compete at the highest level, go toe to toe with anybody else and prove that you can achieve all of yours with a plant-based diet and vegan lifestyle.
That's super cool. I mean, I guess in the past, like my sense of this kind of stuff, Plant Built has been different. They're perhaps the ones who have changed it. It's always been kind of like that the vegan bodybuilders, when I see people at different events and veg fest and things, it always sort of seems like it's a, hey, we can do this too kind of thing. And you want the visibility, but it's never been, at least from what I can tell, like a very serious attempt to win a bunch of stuff. And
yes.
And I don't mean to be unfair because I think Plant Built has changed that. But it sounds like they're growing and getting even more of that. And it sounds like at this one, there's really a lot of chances. I mean, you mentioned some names of people who like Nick Squires, like you said, who I know is got to be a serious competitor in whatever he's in, deadlift, I assume.
And no who may be the best athlete period of all these. I mean, he set like Oceania records, for all of Asia and Australia. He's been vegan for 30 years as an ethical vegan. He is unbelievably talented in powerlifting. He sets like gold medals in international competitions and sets records even. He got a gold medal and set a bench press world record, I believe, in an international competition about a month ago leading up to this event. I've never met him before. I've known of him for over 20 years, and I'm excited to meet him this weekend. He's going to tower over these massive muscle size and strength. Wow. And then you got Cody, who I mentioned, who's already a champion CrossFit athlete. Nadej Corcoran from Canada. Noah's from Australia, by the way. Nadej coming in from Canada. She's an elite level athlete at the national level in Canada. So we've got athletes from around the world. Jocelyn did a great job of handpicking these athletes. So it's a smaller team than the past. We've had as many as, I think, 75, if I want to say, athletes on Plant Built in the past, and won all kinds of awards, including Danny and Giacomo winning medals, including Danny Taylor winning first place in a competition at one of these big ones. But now it's like 25 of kind of the best for Mr. America, and let's see what we got.
Good. Amazing. Yeah. So I'll try to keep track of this and next week report back on how the team did. Yes. Is there anywhere people who are listening who might want to do that on their own? Like, is there a place to social media account to follow or something? Or what should we do?
Yeah,
just this Plant Built account?
Yes. So
Athena, or Vegan Strong, I mean, sorry.
Yeah. Athena is going to be running the @Plant Built account, which is going to have posts and videos all throughout the day. She's the head volunteer. She works with vegan proteins. And then the @Vegan Strong team, the one that I'm on right now, there'll be like 3 or 4 of us running that account, myself included. And it's a 3-day competition. So you're going to see it's going to be a long competition with lots of action and a lot of these vegan celebrity athletes coming in and their fans and supporters and partners and all of that. We also have our sponsors like Zao Nutrition and Ultima and Unisoy vegan jerky, and they're going to have their products all throughout the venue as well, for not just our team, but like for anybody who all the spectators get a chance to try their products, which is another form of vegan activism in my perspective, to showcase these plant-based products for all the athletes and attendees. And I'm really proud of that. So yes, follow us here on the @Vegan Strong team accounts on social media, primarily Instagram and Facebook, but you'll see us elsewhere too, and the Plant Built accounts as well.
Cool. Awesome, Robert. This was really fun. It turned out as well as I could have hoped. So thank you for being a part. I think and we've had some guest co-hosts. We haven't had like a celebrity guest co-host like this one. So this is a first for the show, and I'm glad with how it went. And we made our longest episode ever. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and never in doubt. That was never.
No, it wasn't. No, I knew it was going to happen.
In our heart of hearts, we knew it. We accepted it. We embraced it, and we acknowledge it at the very end. The marathon continues.
Good. All right, Robert. Well, I'd love to have you back on sometime. Enjoy the weekend. Play some bets. Good luck, and just stay inside Atlantic City. No reason to get out to the boardwalk or anything like that.
My bet is on Vegan Strong and Plant Built. I'm putting money on it right now.
All right. Like it. Good. All right. Thanks everyone for showing up. We'll talk to you tomorrow.